My roommate's unhinged boyfriend moved all his things into my room while I was on a long trip. I stopped his plans of moving in and made her break up with him. I met Lana on a roommate website, and we clicked well. She's a bit younger but seemed mature. We quickly agreed to be roommates and have gotten on really well so far, up until this. I found the place first on my own and put down a deposit to take it off the market while I found another roommate. Because of the above and that I was there first, I took the bigger room naturally. We moved in 8 months ago, and I have never heard Lana complain. Because I have a bigger wardrobe space than she does, I told her she's welcome to store her off-season clothes there, or whatever she wants to store. She was happy with this. However, just over a month ago, I went traveling. Now I'm not the biggest fan of having people in my room, but I told Lana if she had someone stay they could sleep in my bed. She said thanks, and as she's been such a great roommate and rarely has guests except her boyfriend, I didn't worry at all. I came back yesterday. I was exhausted from the flight and traveling and just wanted to shower and sleep. As I walked in, Lana was in the living room with her boyfriend. We said hello and hugged, and had a very quick catch-up. Then I dragged my suitcase to my room, opened the door and found it full of stuff that was not mine. I kind of yelled, "What the F?" And briefly thought I was so jet-lagged I was confused, but opened the door to Lana's room and saw all my stuff. I walked into the living room and asked Lana what was going on, and she said, "Oh sorry, I forgot to mention, we put my stuff in your room just because it's bigger and you weren't here and you said I could use it." I was honestly so tired I could have passed out then, so I probably wasn't in the best state and told her to move it all back immediately. She said they were in the middle of making dinner and I looked tired so I should have a sleep. Her boyfriend then said, "And anyway, you pay the same rent, so isn't it fair that you both get the big room at some point?" I was getting really frustrated. And could feel tears welling up, so I just said we'll deal with this tomorrow, and it's getting moved back, and then I went to sleep in not my room. I've woken up now and I'm so pissed off. Lana's at work so I can't talk to her, so I just moved my stuff back. It's taken hours and I'm knackered, but I think if I left it another night it would be a real problem. I sent her a text when I was almost done to say, "Hi Lana. Hope you're having a nice day at work. Just to let you know I'm moving my stuff back into my room, didn't want you coming home and walking into the wrong one." She didn't reply to me, "Fine whatever," but she didn't kick off, so I figured we were okay. She came home as I was sat in the living room and gave her a very cold hi when she walked in. She sort of froze, bag in hand, and her eyes darted between me and our bedroom door. She blurted, "Did you do it?" And I said, "What, move the rooms back?" "Yeah, of course." And her eyes went all wide and she dropped her bag and ran into the bathroom. I could hear her talking on the phone, so I guess Tom's coming round. I heard the door unlock and I was about to go full Hulk on how psycho she is, when she came out of the door and stood between our bedrooms. Their doors are adjacent and she just stared between them both, breathing heavily. It was really odd. Then I noticed she was crying and getting a bit panicky, so I asked what was going on. She burst into tears and said, "Oh my God, he's going to kill me," and just sobbed, so yeah, it was the boyfriend's idea completely. Lana has a bit of a breakdown, and it turns out Tom has always been a bit very jealous. When I left he just finished school and basically moved in unannounced, and when she'd mention he hasn't been home in days, he'd give her the "What, don't you love me, I treat you so well, you're so selfish" shit and refuse to move. She showed me the texts he sent her, absolutely horrific stuff, things like "Ring me in the next 5 minutes or wherever, send me a picture of you at your desk with something showing today's date so I know you're at work," just abusive stuff. Onto the room, as we guessed, he moved it. He did it while she was at work, which is actually a bit gross thinking of him going through my stuff. Lana came home and said, "What are you doing?" He made out it was just temporary and that I wouldn't mind and he would move it back, and he was doing for her. When it got a few days before I came back, Lana suggested moving it back, and he completely denied he said that and told her it was her idea to move it and he only did what she told him, but it's staying now or she'd be sorry. So basically Tom is a prick, and Lana sobbed and apologized and cried and I fed her wine. She didn't want to see Tom, who obviously assumed he lived there now, so I texted him from her phone saying our landlady, my aunt, was coming round for an inspection and staying for dinner after with my family and he couldn't come over tonight. He sent a lot of begging, whiny texts, and then went on the offensive and called Lana a liar. Lana broke up with Tom. Well, he blew the fuck up. Called her every name under the sun, switched back to apologizing and saying she was the love of his life, then said she'd never find someone like him, then he would die without her, then he wanted to kill her, then they were soulmates. It was insane. He started messaging me too, telling me I was an evil bitch who had ruined his perfect wife, and as predicted, her family and friends got messages too. We both turned our phones off to ignore it and just watched TV. Later I briefly switched mine on, where I had a lot of messages from my friends telling me to block some guy on my social media. It was Tom calling me every one imaginative combination of the C word he could think of all over my Instagram page. The next day he rang Lana's office to tell her he was driving down to our flat. She rang me, and I rang my aunt, who told us it was time to call the police. We filed a report about Tom and they said to update us on the situation. The police rang Tom, at our request, and told him they'd seen the messages and to turn his car around because if he turned up at our door, he'd be arrested. Tom managed to shit himself hard enough to not show up after that.